15 minutes. Most of my films I haven't gone past 15 minutes. It has been at least uh close to 15 minutes or less.
All right, our guest today is Amrik Pabla, known for his versatile work in films like the series Assassinators and the film Love for Horses. With a background that spans various genres and roles, Amrik brings a wealth of experience and insight into the filmmaking process. Welcome, Amrik. How are you?
Hey, great. How about you, John?
Good. It's been a while, huh? I haven't seen you
I
since
know.
you got a baby now, right?
Yeah,
Actually, your baby's how old?
she's 2 now.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations again. 2 years old. How's it going being a dad? Has anything changed? Has it given you any kind of different perspectives?
It's pretty difficult. I cannot even do much editing anymore, because every time when I try to do work like that, she wanting to sit down with me,
Yeah.
and she wants me to put the headphones on her so that way she can listen what I'm doing. But then she ends up pressing all the buttons of the computer. I'm like, just stop.
You gotta buy 2 keyboards. I've done this. My daughter's 4. So when I go to edit and I'm working, she'll come in with her pretend laptop and we have a
Uh-huh.
different keyboard for her so that she can type on it and play on it, whatever she wants. We have headphones and she can't hear it, but I mean I play everything on the speaker, so but that solved that issue with her wanting to check on my keyboard. So try that.
Okay.
See if that works.
All right. We'll do that.
All right. So let's get into this interview and talk about what is going on with you. So, what inspired you to pursue a career in filmmaking and how did your journey begin? What's the root of it?
Well, it's hard to tell. Like my parents have told me that. Uh, Let me go back a little bit. I was born in India, and there I used to be more of a troublemaker. So my parents always used to tell me like I used to be wanting to be a film maker, and which I don't remember have that much memory of it until I came to the U.S. It was Captain America, Star Wars. Oh no, not Captain America, Captain Underpants reading at school. That kind of like jogged in my memory. Uh, and Star Wars would have to be another big auction, and then X-Men, which Wolverine being like my one of my favorite characters, were they kind of like opened the perspective of having a bad attitude kind of character
Wait
and
a
what
second.
can
Now
he
you're talking about the cartoon Wolverine.
cut. Yeah, the cartoon
Okay.
one. Yeah.
Now, are
Uh,
you saying that your parents wanted you to become filmmaker or you
no,
wanted?
they said that since a kid I wanted to become a filmmaker, but I
Oh,
just
okay.
don't have much memory about it
Oh, that's
until
interesting.
when I came to the US around turning 9.
Now, when you were a kid,
And
did you have a camera or anything? Did you start playing
no,
with
no,
cameras?
I would have to say from partially from what I remember, it's like every time when my parents used like a home video VHS, mini VHS kind of type of cameras, home videos, I always will look at the camera. I'll be like, oh shit, I'm in the camera. And then I'll be like directing everybody. It's like, have him sit over here, have him do this, have him do that. And I'm like looking back at those videos, I'm like, damn it, I sounded like shit.
But that's interesting, though. I mean, the fact that it's actually your parents that influenced you because they had a camera, right? And when you
Yeah,
saw that, you were like hooked on kind of
definitely.
making films.
Yeah. And there are some like wrestlers that has also kind of influenced me as growing up because I was like I didn't like my parents didn't much talk with their siblings and stuff, so I didn't have much to reflect on my older cousins growing up, and I had one little brother, and so I was the older one, and I didn't have much uh to look up to growing up. And there were like some wrestlers like from WCW and stuff that kind of helped me inspire like wanting to do something cool when it came to storytelling and stuff. And and in the world of Star Wars, it's kind of jolted my memory of like what if I wanted to do kind of like storytelling where something happens in space and stuff like that. And since I would say 2000, I kind of created this like an anti-superhero type of film that is still in the process of being made because so much is going in my head, and every year something comes up in my mind. It's like, oh, now I know what to add into this story. Now I know what to kind of give him this kind of superpowers. And I kind of created a whole, started to create a whole universe of like superheroes, but I'm still in the process of like coming up with the backstory, coming up with like unique villains that makes those heroes wanting to like hit and trigger the point of why they are heroes and why these villains are what and the kind of villains. And all those kind of characters reflects on my life of growing up, like my people have been like treating me badly. I created them as my villains in my movies. People have been really influential in my life, has become my heroes in my film, and just give them kind of unique way of telling them like this is who this person is, this character, and the character that I created that is become like my anti-hero actually had came out of my life, and I created my darker side of it, but at the same time, he's like not the darker, but in a world where he's struggling to trying to figure out where he belongs in the world because not many people accept him as a hero.
Right.
So he's trying to figure out like where do I fit into this world? So I kind of ended up kind of going from a perspective and say creating more ideas from going to school, learning history, and all that stuff about U.S. government corruption and stuff like that. I was like, oh man, this will be a great idea for a story time. This will be a great idea for kind of like a TV series. So from that point on, I am here trying to tell different perspectives of the stories in different genres.
So that's interesting. 'Cause you kind of answered my second question, which is the what is this? Uh, which is how do you approach developing a character? But so you answered that, which it's actually what they tell you to do is really kind of look at your own experiences in life and then how you can
Yeah.
create from there. But let's go back again to the first question on how did you begin your journey though? Did you start using your parents' camera and making movies, or did you go to school, or did you just buy a camera? How did that all happen?
And I used my the camera that my parents were using as a VHS to do like home videos and stuff. And from there, uh, I around 2010, that's when before, a little bit before 2010, I was trying to find a school that I can go to, and I couldn't get into UCLA because their requirement for GPA was really high. You have to be really, really good. You have to be at Steven Spielberg level good of a filmmaker in order to get in there.
Wow.
And I was like, oh crap, okay, I can't get into it.
Wait,
And
wait.
then
So
there was,
you had to be a pro before you could come to learn how to be a
yeah,
pro.
like you have to be like in perspective, the GPA was like you had to have at least above 3.5 GPA, which I
Okay.
didn't have when I got out of high school. And and then from that perspective, I knew like the like recommendation letter would have to be so good where you have to prove yourself like why do you think you should be good fit for UCLA? And I had a feeling it's like there's no way I'm gonna get in there regardless whether if I had a good GPA or not. So I was like trying to figure out what other schools I could like get to because my dad was like giving me an option, like go to school. You want to be a filmmaker? Go to school. Find yourself. And then I had to research myself, and I was like desperately like searching like to and I didn't had many options trying to figure out exactly what school I wanted to go to. And at that time, I tried to find a school in Tallahassee, Florida. There was one film school there, but I didn't apply for it yet. And the only option I had left on the table was because my father was telling me I wanted to stay in Washington State, so I was going out of state because then the cost of living and stuff like that was going to be huge. And so before I graduated from high school, Art Institute of Seattle was the only option because what University of Washington wasn't even offering from degree, and they were offering film degree, but it was only associate degree
All right.
at the Art Institute. And then it took me, and then I started going to uh, Highland Community College. That was sort of getting to writing courses, so for writing novels and stuff like that. And I spent like about 3.5 years there, and that's when I noticed like the Art Institute of Seattle was offering bachelor's in film.
Okay.
So I quickly jumped the gun and tried to apply for that, and they quickly accepted me. And right around this January of 2010, that's when I started at the Academy of Arts, and I got most of my classes Stanford and got my degree in the same about 3 or 3.5 years in September of 2012. That's when I graduated.
The bachelor's.
Yep.
That's
And it's
awesome.
called Bachelor's of Fine Arts, and it's because it's called Digital Filmmaking and Video Production. When I started, it was mostly we're learning in VHS tapes and stuff how to capture VHS into what do you call those machines, so you can pull up into Final Cut
Oh, okay.
and
How to digitize it, really.
digitize it. Yeah, and right when I was kind of getting to the hang of it, trying to understand it, they just went just right into digital. I was like, oh crap! I was getting the hang of it.
That's awesome. You're like, okay, I gotta learn something brand new again. Here we go.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. What so at that time, let's see, you said 2010,
yeah.
2012. What did they teach you as far as like an overview? Did they teach you how to write scripts?
They taught almost overall everything, like how to write script, uh, how to be good at cinematography, uh, camera work, and and
Editing.
editing. Yes, fundamentals of editing. And there was intermittent editing and advanced editing. And the first two editing class was teaching on Final Cut. The advanced editing was on Avid. Yeah,
Oh, Avid.
and
Wow.
yeah, and I was still at that time I was still having a really hard time with Avid because the way the editing worked and stuff. Because
Yeah.
the only way you could cut was you had to bring in the mouse for the editing, but then when you're trying to cut a clip, you have to somehow bring a previous clip and then take it over on the other one to make it cut. And I was having really difficult time trying to figure like how do I make a better cut out of if I wanted to cut 30 seconds from the previous shot and cut 20 seconds of the beginning of the next shot, and it was still difficult. And I have to still go back and try to learn again if I have to. But
Yeah.
that was the kind of difficulty parts about learning Avid.
What was the other one?
Final Cut.
Final Cut. So
And
how did you like Final Cut?
Final Cut was pretty easy and simple.
Yeah.
Then right when I graduated, then they switched it to Premiere Pro because Final Cut did because Final Cut became a consumer editing software now, where and the whole school's like, oh, we're switching to Premiere Pro. I was like, oh, then I have to learn by myself Premiere Pro.
That's hilarious. So are you using Premiere today then?
Yeah, now
Okay.
I'm using Premiere Pro, so I have the a paid monthly subscription, but I have to still I have to learn my way of using the Illustrator and After Effects. I got the hang of it a little bit,
Yeah.
but now I haven't touched it in a while. But I, it is kind of difficult, but I have to watch a lot of videos on like how to do After Effects, depending on what I wanna do, kind of visual effects or
Oh yeah,
like motion graphics. So,
yeah. I took because of that very reason. I took a After Effects class, and I still don't remember anything. I have to go back and revisit it because I don't use it all the time. I just thought it was one of those things where I think I need to learn how to do this. And once I got into it, I was like, oh, this is great. And then you step away for a little bit, and you're like, how do you do that again? And I have to go back and revisit. But it's interesting because I learned in college Final Cut Pro as well,
okay,
and then when I went into the corporate world, we hired some interns to do some video work, and they only knew Premiere Pro, and I was like, oh, and I never used it before, so I was at that point, I'm like, I gotta learn how to use Premiere Pro. So I taught myself. I mean, once you've learned the kind of the editing suite and the nuances of it, you know how to edit. You just got to figure out where everything is. And I think that's
yeah.
that's what helped was locating everything. So I had to learn Premiere Pro because part of that was it was my job to create a workflow for them to how to edit the videos that they needed to do, training and development. But another thing I was gonna say, have you looked at DaVinci Resolve?
I haven't, but I started working for Microsoft, and they were giving me the, or they're telling me because they're using the video Resolve when it comes to editing,
Yeah.
because they're using uh Black Magic camera,
Hmm.
and they have the switching board, which is designed by Black Magic, and I just bought the more mini version
Nice.
from a filmmaker for switching, for doing like a live streaming and stuff.
Yeah.
So I bought it for $150 for him, and
Nice.
he was like, "If you need help, let me know. I can help you out with it." So, and that's when I was like, "Oh man, I gotta try DaVinci Resolve," because some people were saying like DaVinci Resolve is like free, and then they just
100%.
do update, and you don't even have to pay pretty much nothing.
So it's free, but if you do buy the studio version,
Uh-huh.
one fee, not a monthly fee, and you get the free updates for the rest of your life. It's
Oh,
very
okay.
simple, like Final Cut Pro. Final Cut Pro is the same way. You just pay one fee, and then any update that
Yeah.
comes along, you just get that. Well, that's awesome. So you went to growing up, parents' camera, you went to school, you learned how to do the tricks of the trade, everything. You're a one
Yeah.
man show, basically. You write scripts, you direct them, you film them, and then you edit them. So tell me, how do you walk through your creative process when you're starting a brand new project? And where do you find inspiration? I think I already know the answer to that one. I think it comes from your life experience, right?
From life experience, and then also from watching a lot of films, and because each actors that have given like really in-depth feel of playing those characters. Take for example as Robert Downey Jr. Not even I never even knew him until the movie called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I don't know if you heard of it.
Yes.
That was my first time seeing him, and he was freaking awesome in that movie. And when he got picked to play Iron Man, I was like, oh my god, this is like a boom, some dream come true right there. Because I was like, man, who would be a perfect role to play Iron Man? And when he brought the character into uh, into the film, I was like, my gosh, this guy knows. Uh, this guy went from the 90s, being a different character to like uh, how do I tell a movie about a billionaire who's like drunk and alcoholic, and into being like being a superhero for his for the people, and he just like went crazy about like telling the story about it. So I was like, oh man, this kind of characters, those kind of people, actors telling like really depth when it comes to the characters, really kind of gave me some inspiration. For example, like even No Country for Old Men is one of my number one film that I kind of look as inspiration, especially from the villain perspective. Anton Sugar, he's a perfect way of telling a villain kind of perspective of what I want to see in my movies as a villain. And then I sort of picture those kind of villains in my head. It was like, what if I kind of put him in a situation, what I would do, and I would just sit there in my room, and I'm like visualizing right in my head, right there, storyboarding, just let it go, and I'm like sitting there thinking like, I thought, it's like I'm watching my own movie right in front of me, and then I would say like, all right, this is what's happening, all right, and I'm like watching the scene play by play in my head, like to see what's gonna happen if they go at it in Seattle, and how they're gonna be tearing down the buildings. You know, he's gonna come from there. Okay, all right. Now I think I got this sound perfectly down. All right, so I'm gonna be like, all right, and then at some point, I'm always kind of having a writer's block, and especially the dialogue is mostly the kind of difficult since English is my third language. So I have to kind of sit
Wait,
there
wait, wait.
trying to
Third
figure out like,
language. Third language. What
yeah,
are the languages you know?
Punjabi is my native language, and then Hindi, which is spoken out throughout the whole India, is a secondary language, and then English is my third. And I was supposed to, when I was gonna transfer to colleges, they were telling me that I had to learn Spanish. I was like, do I have to learn Spanish? Really? I already speak three languages.
Why Spanish? Is that like for LA?
Because
UCLA?
a lot of Spanish speaking people
Yeah.
in the US. So like, well, you need to communicate with people from Mexico and stuff or Spain. And I was
Wow.
like, really? And so, but then they said like, oh, you since you already speak three languages, I don't think you need to have a requirement for another language, as long as you can speak the other two languages. Like, yeah, of course I know how to speak
What's
them.
your native tongue?
I'm
Like,
not
I
I'm
learned
not
English.
perfect. Yeah, I'm not perfect at it because I was young when I left, but
Sure.
I speak enough to make have people understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so as my third language being English, dialect has always been a really big problem. And that's when it comes to like, working with you. I always kind of like let you guys like look at the dialogue and let you guys decide how you guys think it fits best because as a director, I mean, I'm not trying to be like that kind of guy who's like, no, you gotta stay with the script and with the dialogue.
Right.
I want to be like working with you guys, trying to figure out like how would you best say this line? This is the kind of character that I kind of wanted to go this direction. Do you think the dialogue worked well and going that direction? And then I'll let you guys work around that dialogue. So, and if it has to be totally looking different, the dialogue from what I've written, then we can work and make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
then
then,
that's how I kind of go with it because I like to uh, work with the actors to create a uh, really unique character when we're shooting. Because sometimes like what I written in the script turns out totally different, and then I was like, oh crap, I didn't thought of the character doing like this because now the actor just came out and was like, if I do like this, and then they shoot it, I'm like, holy crap, I wasn't thinking about the character being like that. Now it's even better. All right, yeah, we're going with that part.
yeah, yeah. No, I think working with you was nice and easy because it allowed us, the actors, to also improvise and figure out what kind of explore what the character is going to do and how do we, as long as we hit your vision on what you want and what the main points are. I think that's huge. And plus networking. I mean, I met a lot of other people working on your project. So I mean, that was years ago though. So let me ask you this: part of the process of when you're starting a new project and then you write the script, you give it to the actors, what's the next step? Well, I mean, are you doing some location study? Are you working with a team? Like, are you still the one man band in this whole show?
Pretty much when it comes to on-man band, because there are some people that I mean, think some uh, crew members they ask for fee upfront, which it's like literally I can't get the pays, and so that I usually end up doing everything by myself. I'm usually the casting director, location manager, doing the DP, sound, and then I will get some help from you guys and stuff to help out But right now, so far, since I've been doing 100-hour film race, I had at least 2 to 3 new people that actually are helping me out when it comes to doing crew member roles and stuff.
Yeah.
I had my editor for the 100-hour film race. I was gonna have him be my editor, but when he came on set, he thought like, oh, I was gonna do the DP, and he was like, dude, you could have freaking told me that you're gonna be the DP. I could have taken over as a DP. Now I have to all the way to Everett to get all my equipment. I was
Oh,
like,
you thought
what?
he already had a camera?
No, he was gonna be editing from
Right.
my project, right? So I was like, I'm gonna have him do editing. And then since my cinematographer never showed up on set, so I was like, oh,
Oh,
okay, I'm gonna take over. And then he was like, oh crap, you don't have no cinematographer? I was like, no, I'm gonna be the one doing it. He was like, you should have told me. I have my own camera. I
yeah,
could have brought all my equipment. I was like,
yeah,
oh shit. Okay.
yeah.
Then he's like, you want me to go get it? I was like, okay, if you are down with it, wanting to do DP and edit, uh, let's go with it. And he went and came back and started doing the DP and then did the editing for the film.
How'd it go?
It went pretty well. The writing, the visions that I planned before totally went different direction, but it was like a lesson that I had to learn because my the new writers that I was working with wasn't fully understanding my full vision of what I was trying to go with it, and I wanted to tell like a action type of film, and so from their view, they decided to like, oh, let's do tiny little concept of what you have and make it into a comedy, and but it turned out good. I think some people, some of the actors dropped out because they didn't understand the full concept of what a film race competition was,
Oh, yeah. It's like,
as they never done it,
what did they think they
and
were getting
they thought,
into?
huh?
What did they think they were getting into? You said it's a
They
100-hour film competition?
Yeah, it's similar to 48-hour film festival,
Yeah,
but you do everything in 100 hours,
right.
right? And some actors were like one of the actors that I was gonna have him as a villain. He was like a newbie, and he somehow people he was gonna drive with to the shoot. He They told me that he was getting obnoxious about it. I was like, where's the script? Where's the script? I don't have the script. And I've been trying to tell everybody was like, we do not start writing until 5 p.m. on a Thursday, eh, until we get the elements that we're supposed to do. And yet still people like, what the script? How am
Yeah.
I supposed to know what I'm planning doing, what I'm gonna say? Like, and then they just ended up dropping out like a week before we were supposed to start. I was like, oh come on,
Uh,
really?
And
And I had
they
to.
were experienced actors, or you said they were newbies.
They were new actors.
Okay, so they'd acted before.
I think so. They would have acted before as like background kind of roles, and I was given an option to be like, hey, you want to do this and take it to the next level, and they were cool with it. And then all of a sudden, like right at the last moment, it's like, oh, you guys have no script, and how am I supposed to know? I don't think this. I don't want to be part of this. I was like, okay, whatever.
So
And then
what did
I
you
had
do?
to change at the last moment. I had still extra people, so I was like, you know what? All right, I'm gonna make it my video. I'm gonna do this. I only had 3 people to be my background actors.
Nice.
I was gonna have more background actors, and so that way it didn't feel like the background was so empty, and me focusing entirely on my main characters.
Yeah. What was the story about? Just real quick.
It was we just did it beginning of June. It's called The Hunt, and it's about two guys who are desperate in a need of money because they owe this casino owner money, and they're trying to figure out like how they're gonna pay it off. And somehow this FBI agent mistakes them for the other agent that she was supposed to meet up with, because she saw them rolling the dice, because and she was told like, oh, you will see us rolling dice, and we'll say a line, and then she goes up to them like, and then she says a Mission Impossible line. If you choose to accept this mission, and and they was like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. And then they sit down and talk about it, and then she kind of gives up the mission, and like there's some money been hidden by these two villains who actually stole the money from the bank, and it's gonna be in this forest. And then when they go to find the money, they end up getting caught by multiple people trying to get the money as well. So it's almost kind of like the movie Cat. What was it? Rat Race movie. I don't know if you
Oh,
see that one.
yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like that, where the everybody's trying to go for the money, but almost every those people are trying to go for the money gets killed, and then the main villains who actually stole the money are chasing our leads because they took the money, and then they give it to the casino owner who they were supposed to give it to. And in the process, everybody kind of like died except for the our lead characters.
That's pretty good for a 100-hour film. That's so. That's a pretty
Yeah,
well
well,
thought
we
out
had to.
idea.
The My writers like wrote it like more than 20 pages long, and so we had, and we I wanted them to actually have the script uh, for each day, have it ready before we got to the location. But they were still writing it as we were shooting it. And
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I don't know how am I going to be able to pull it off, because they gave me like 1/4 of the script. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And by the time when they got the other end of the script done, I was like, dude, that's like the other 7 pages, and we're only at 3 hours left. There's no way I can pull it off. So we had to cut that all out,
Yeah.
and I had to come up in my mind like with the help of the actors, like to like, how do we close this part of the scene so it doesn't look like we're shooting another 10 hours and shooting for like 24 hours straight with no sleep, and then we have to come out with it at the last moment, and we had to shoot scenes that didn't even make sense. So we had to cut those scenes out in the process because it didn't make sense how that ended up being like that and stuff. So we had to cut like at least a minute or two of the film out because it didn't make sense.
Hmm. Well, that's pretty bold. I mean, that's courageous, I would say, because I have never had the desire to do anything like that. Enter into these competitions. I've acted in them, but I've never actually led a team and did exactly what you did. You got the team
Yeah.
together, you directed, you were the captain. Is there a reason why you wanted an editor versus editing it yourself?
I wanted to give a chance to editor to kind of like uh, give a different perspective of it, of like, and sometimes like my mind is always said like I have this vision in the script, I have this vision in film that I'm gonna cut this way, right? And I kind of when it comes to editing it, I'm like, there you go, three simple film right there. And there's some editors that I worked with that had actually came out with it of telling a story like where it was like, oh, okay, I didn't thought of this one, because they cut it like in a fast moving way. Where for me, when I'm cutting it, it's like dialogue, 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 cut back and forth, cut to the next shot, dialogue, 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 and then at one point I felt like rewatching my own videos, like, damn it, man, this is hell boring when I'm editing my own project. And then when I watch that it was done by my editors, like, oh, this is quick cuts. that makes it even more better because I always forget about it when I'm shooting. I always forget about doing the B-rolls, like of B-roll of the location that the characters end up in, or the B-roll of the house before they walk in. I forget about that part because I'm focused entirely on getting the shots, and it's like, oh crap, it's getting dark. We need to get this done really quickly.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to doing one camera, it's like, oh crap, how are we gonna get it all done within this hours? I had multiple issues where I was so focused trying to tell the shoot everything in within 10 hours, and I realized like, oh crap, it's gone past 10 hours because we had to do all this stuff, and and there were at points where my actors started calling me. I was like, Emmett, well, why don't we do this tomorrow? Okay, it doesn't mean that we have to rush it right now to get it complete, because if you rush it right now, you're gonna screw things up. Let's let's do what we got. Let's do one scene right now, and then we'll do the rest of the two scenes that we need to do tomorrow. It's like, all right, fine, okay, okay. And in my mind, I'm like, I need to get it done. I need to get it done. I need to get it out there.
So that kind of leads into my next. The question was the challenges in filmmaking. It sounds like you're always on a race against the light and time, and then overcoming them. Like any other projects, you have a very well diverse team that says, "Hey, we can do this tomorrow. We can rest assured we'll get the shot and all that." Are will you? Do you ever have like a production manager or producer or an AD with you to kind of help organize? Because it sounds like you're doing as a as a one man band, you're kind of doing a lot to kind of get everything wrangled up. You know, you're getting the camera ready, right? Are you doing audio
Yeah,
as well?
yeah.
So you're doing audio, camera, lighting. Are you doing any lighting?
Lighting by myself, and then I tend to do AD by myself as well. And I do have one person, but then at the same time, she's in a position like I need
Oh,
to work on something that I can get paid.
you
So it
froze.
kind of comes to a point where it's like, oh man, I have to let my AD go. I have to do my by myself now, because if I try to ask for somebody else to do AD, it's what I have to pay actors and then 500 to $750 a day just to have him be on set with me.
Wow. What about other students or people who are interested? So I guess this is kind of a public call. If anyone wants to get into filmmaking and wants to learn the ends and the ropes, the rope of I mean, know what the term is. If you want to learn the everything that goes into filmmaking, reach out to Amrik and he can put you to work for sure. At least a production assistant, right, to help do some things.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to post a lot when it came to the 100-hour film race. I asked for multiple positions, and it kind of came down to like uh the editor and PA, but nobody applied for audio.
Yeah.
And it's because like, oh, I'm working fee here, but I have equipment that is worth over thousands of dollars. Why would I want to waste my time on doing something free body and I can get paid uh, hundreds of dollars a day? And I'm like, okay, I mean, I can do it by myself if I have to, but kind of comes at point
Yeah.
because everybody's asking for like, how much are you paying? I was like, sorry to see the application. There's not pay. I could pay you for gas,
Right.
but then like, no, I can't use this equipment for just gas money.
They can't
I
use the equipment for just gas money. Is that what they say?
yeah, I can't get paid for gas money, and this is sensitive equipment. And in some sense, they're saying like, you're asking for my professional experience to use on a project that uh with an amateur filmmaker. And so I was like, my college was like, okay, if you can, thank you.
Yeah.
I can try to do it myself if I have to. Some people are too. They come out the way I kind of read the wording that they say. They come out like really in a way where it's like they're trying to be aggressive at me for asking a question. I'm asking for free. Like, and I asked like a particular question that some people think that I have to give so much details, like 10 pages of details to them in order to give them a response. And when I give them like small little details,
Yeah.
so in hopes that someone can message me. Some people like, you gotta be kidding me. You want me to do something for $500? And why would I want to do something for $500? You, you're an asshole. I'm like, what do you mean I'm an asshole? Yeah, man, I'm not gonna put my 20 years of experience of doing filmmaking for $500 for one day of shoot.
Yeah.
That I need at least about $1,500.
On a contest.
Yeah,
That's the part where I don't, I've done like maybe a handful of 48 hours, and I don't know of any 48 hours that actually pay actors. It's for fun. It's to have
yeah,
fun
yeah.
and to just do what we can come up with. It's people who are passionate about filmmaking, period. Passionate about acting, passionate about collaboration, passionate about just trying to make something happen. And then you go to see it on the big screen. I mean, that's a pretty good reward to me. But I understand there's people out there who are just money hungry and that's all they want. Focus, pay
Yeah.
me for what I'm worth. And I understand that. I respect that. But when it comes to a competition, I mean, come on, you know?
I mean, I kind of get the point, but at the same time, it's like you you spent thousands of dollars on getting a red camera, and I wouldn't mind. Yeah, you can use if you want to use a red camera, but then you want me to pay you $250 for your day rate, so that way to cover up your camera. I don't
Right.
have that in my budget. It's
Yeah.
like that means I have to do a fundraising for a competition,
Right. Right.
and like 40 hour film festivals. Like there are rules. Like no, you can't pay people to do it or whatsoever.
Yeah.
This is a fun competition. Even for the 100 hour program, it's just like this is a fun competition. It's
Right.
not. You're not paying somebody to do this. You try your best trying to get something and little to no budget at all, and you try to make that happen. And the last time when I did the 100 hour race, I ended up paying about roughly, depending on the gasoline and stuff, about $500 for shooting and stuff because he ended up going to Port Thompson. I did an Airbnb
Okay.
and he allowed me to shoot the film there
Yeah.
as long as I wasn't doing XXX type of videos.
Right. That makes sense.
And uh, I tried to pay. I paid for one night, 1 to 2 nights at his place, and then I had to get hotels for my actors, which equivalent to was like about $300-400 for one night stay there.
This is for a
So
film competition or for one of your
uh
films?
for the 100 hour conference that I did like back in 2021, I
Wow.
would say in December.
Okay.
Yeah, so I ended up doing that by myself, and then there was a film that we did down in Astoria, Oregon.
Oh,
That
nice.
again having to pay for the hotel for everybody
For another
because he's
competition.
paid. Well, this one was that my own passion project that
Okay.
I told him on.
Yeah. What year was
Uh,
that? What is the title of that project?
I'm still in the process of editing. As long as if I get the chance to actually work on the project, it's been like 3 years still in the editing phase. Uh,
Holy
it's
smokes.
called Syndicate,
Okay.
and it's about
Just a
uh
log line. You don't have to spoil anything.
working on the long line part. It's about
You're
a
working
group
on
of
it. I thought that was the first thing you're supposed to do. Don't they teach you that in film
I told
school?
when well that it was kind of the idea. So like the only the concept is group of retired military as soldiers who the government decides to not pay them for their service, decides to rob back so that way they can pay for their families and keep the house. But in the process, well, they get backstabbed by the people who they trusted to be their, what do you call it? Who have some uh the down to earth psychologist,
Psychologist,
I would
okay.
say.
Like a
Yeah,
counselor.
yeah, counselor. And they try to, and then at the same time, they try to escape from the police and to make sure that they don't get caught by the police.
Okay. Interesting.
But
Is it a short film or long film or feature? What?
it's a short film. I think this one might be my longest one, which is gonna be close to 20 minutes long.
Nice. All right. Because
Yeah,
normally you're averaging about what your short films are.
10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
Most of my films I haven't gone past 15 minutes. It has been at least uh close to 15 minutes or less.
All right.
And that's all because of the editing ways of cutting and pasting stuff to break it down. Most of my scripts always ended up being more than 50 pages, which from what my instructors have taught me, one page equals 1 minute. And that also kind of depends on the dialogue and
Lose
description
me
that's
again.
being given in the page. That equals 1 minute for one page. But when it comes down to editing, the pacing wise, it kind of always has come down to like under 15 minutes or so.
So let me work. Ask you this: You're like you've come up with with projects. You've created films, but within this last 3 years, right? Like
Yeah.
I think I've seen them. So why is this one taking so long to edit? Are you What's happening? Are you just putting this on the back shelf and you have a new project, you have a new idea and you go and pursue that? Like what how do you maneuver and juggle all these other projects that you have on the back shelf that still needs it? Like
Uh, yeah, that's a good example. Like for the Horror Film Racer, example, I had editors like to help me out with it, so that way I don't have to be in a burden where I have to spend hours and hours sitting at home trying to edit it.
right.
And then because at one point there was a situation where I had to take more than 3 days off from work just to do my own editing, and I was like, oh crap, I can't do more than like that again because I'm already not getting paid for work.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to get more editors so that way give them uh, the time to do it. So I always have done it at a point where, like for example, for the 100 hour, I would shoot Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, maybe Sunday, depending on how much long the script is. But it could be half day. So that way, Monday, my editor has at least 12 hours to do the editing. And he will be on set with me too. So that way, he's getting the visual like, oh, okay, that's what he does. Okay, I think I have a better way. Like, when he gives me the shot, quickly just do it perfectly because I'm watching it and how he's doing it. This is what I'm going to do right away. And that's why I want my editors to be there on set so that way they get the concept of it rather than me sending everything to them remotely and then they say like, uh, why did he do this? I don't understand the story. Where the heck did he go with this?
Right, right.
I'm just gonna jiggle put it together and stuff like that. And so that's why I've done like for 100 often ways where I always want to work with the editor and they kind of understand the perspective of where I'm trying to go with it and make it more easier for them to say, oh, okay, I see what you're standing this further there. The reason why on the syndicate and my other project, there was another project where my dad was born that I haven't even. I got the film edited out. It has to go back and cut and add some music to it.
Okay.
Um,
Pause it up a bit.
uh, and that one, both of them are. At some points, it's really difficult because based on my job that I'm doing work in 6 to 7 days, and when I'm off for one day,
Yeah.
it comes down to either doing my project that I want to do or take care of my daughter. And that's kind of situation because like my wife always says, take care of her while I do this, and then I'm taking care of her. But every time when I try to even sit down for like 1 second, my daughter comes over and is like, pick me up, pick me up. I'm like, can you just let me do this one project? No, no, no. I was like,
With this girl across the world, man.
yeah, and like that's the reason why kind of like Ghost Project has kind of has been
Priorities.
on a long delay, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to work on it a little bit more
Yeah.
because my wife and my daughter are going on a state for a week, less than a week, so that gives me some time to do some, do more of the project. I still have another project that I've done for a nonprofit organization that I haven't been able to touch on to promote their nonprofit and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just a time that I need to do it. If I have a job where I can work 3 days a week and it pays me really well, then heck yeah, for
3
those
days
other
a
4 days.
week. I don't know anyone that
And
works 3 days a week.
I mean,
Holy smokes.
if there's a job that it's just like, hey, I'll give you this much money
Yeah.
for 3 days a week,
Yeah.
and would you do it? And I'll be like, oh, dude, if you can give me like $1,500 for 3 days a week, fuck,
Yeah.
I'm down. I'm down with it. At least for 4 days, I can do something else.
So let me ask you this: What, as it sounds like, this is kind of rolling down. I have a list of questions, and you keep answering all my questions. Like the next question was, as someone who's deeply involved in the indie film scene, well, what do you see as the biggest opportunities and challenges for indie filmmakers today? Now, I think you've already spoke to the challenges. What would you say are the biggest opportunities?
The biggest opportunity is, I mean, I would say like, if you have if you have a passion project that you want, like really into diving deep into it, wanting to doing it, I would say go for it I because of something that I love doing filmmaking. That filmmaking process has given me a chance to be like a multiple passion project that I want to do. But at the same time, it's like I need to focus on what project that is more feasible to do
Right.
that can put me not just put me, but the people that I work with on the board by saying like, "Oh, these people's got like the ability to showcase that they have in film itself." You know, I'm trying to find a way to have Washington be a showcase where there's a lot of talent here. There's a lot of crew here that we can work with, and 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 then there's our really great original ideas we can work with, opposed to, oh, we're going to move to Georgia because that's where most of filmmakers is going because nobody wants to come to Washington.
Right.
And then it's like everything is moving away, and that's all because the filmmaking process when it comes to alive more independent filmmakers to make more films out here, it's getting more difficult because the biggest challenges is Washington is all about commercials, and that's where the business is going to. It's all comes to commercials. For Amazon, for Microsoft, for Expedia, through commercials. That's all it knows about. And then big corporations like Hollywood said, "Oh, that nobody cares about Washington. Does they all care about doing commercials? I don't think they have any people that want to do filmmaking and stuff like that." So they end up saying like, "Oh, we're just gonna go back over BC to do an indie film right there.
Well,
We're gonna go to Georgia and just over $50 million to the next Avengers movie."
that's part of the reason why I started this podcast is really to highlight our community, right? Obviously, we're
Yes.
going to branch out and talk to other local communities, but I wanted to start here at home, Seattle, Washington, to show everybody, hey, this is what we have. These are our talents, and I'm going to start interviewing a lot of different guests about this. And this is why I wanted to put you on, is because to highlight, hey, you're a filmmaker, you've made a lot of films, you've won awards, you're a networker, you work with actors, and you're very solid in knowing how to set up a camera, how to create a story, how to film it, how to edit it. I think it's amazing. What do you have anything that's coming up that you want to share, or any shorts that have recently came out that you want to share? Where can people find your stuff?
Uh, and if anybody wants to find my project, YouTube me at by searching Amrik Pabla one, the number one. If you search it that way, you'll find my profile, and you'll be able to watch my shorts there, and
But we'll
me
link
talking
that.
about
We'll link that in the show notes.
yeah. And you're gonna there were some class project that I've done about lighting and stuff, and that's where I kind of mostly post my stuff in it. But right now, uh, I'm trying to steer away from the competitions. My my
Good.
my I want to do I want to do a feature film that will be taking place in Washington, and I need to post myself to live by saying that there needs to be a feature film that being should be done by me, because everybody keeps telling me it's like we're not gonna do the next big film and stuff,
How
and
many shorts have you done so far?
I would have to say
Park.
15 to 20,
Okay. Yeah.
and like
Experience.
yeah, two probably still in the process. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the latest one, the Hunt was the latest one that I did along the film race.
Now, with
And
is that on your profile page and YouTube too? That your 100
yeah,
hour.
yeah,
Okay.
you can watch it
Great.
on my YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy. Since I posted it, it has the most views than any other films that I've done.
There you go. Boom.
Three. I know it's a low number, but it's at 345 views.
Dude, that's a lot of hits.
Since
Yeah. That's a lot of hits.
yeah, for 1 month since it's been on YouTube, and then the what I haven't yet posted for I still want to work on the Days of Salvations project put together that I have with the other one.
I've gotten
I already
fatter
have it.
since.
I already have the two episodes that I did that
Yeah.
I did. I already put it together. It comes
Good.
down to, all together as 20 minutes.
Wow.
And so I had to figure out the one that I did before that takes place before the event. Put that in there, and that's probably gonna be like about 30 minutes or so. And that version that I did that takes place before had a view of about 320 views. And
Okay.
my very first film, which I want to turn it into a feature film, it's called Life, and that is kind of like a little bit reflective on my life as growing up.
Nice.
And that it's about me, like the character who's trying to struggle, trying to figure out like where the blood, and he ends up nobody there to tell him like what's wrong, what's right, and so, and he ends up doing something wrong, and he gets a second chance by somebody, and he tries to redeem himself, not to get caught up in the same situation
Yeah.
with the wrong people.
Yeah.
And that one has been like that was for my phone project for my school as a final project, and that one had like about 310, 315 views. Since I uploaded it, since 2012.
Wow. That's awesome. Okay. So here's our final question as we dock the boat. What is your favorite tech when it comes to filmmaking? Why is it your favorite?
That I was trying to figure that out in my mind, but can you elaborate more, like what you mean by that?
Any kind of technology that you use?
Here comes my daughter. Uh,
Is it a camera?
Technology.
Is it your phone? Is it your software? Particular software that you like?
I I would have to stay up mostly kind of like camera.
What camera
That I
are you using?
use. Uh, I really loved my camera that we shot digital salvation with, but it got stolen.
What camera was
But
it?
Panasonic EF100.
EF
It
one.
was yeah. It's not in production anymore, so it's gonna be really weird to find it. But the closer you can get those cameras, will be the Panasonic Lumix cameras.
Okay.
Those are digital ones, not really handy. But that one was more of a camcorder. Uh,
So it had tape,
you're,
is what you're saying.
say it again.
Did it have digital tapes?
No,
Okay, it was
it
just
didn't have videotape, but
camcorder
it
size.
was kind of handheld.
Got it.
It's not as big, but it was enough to be like you can hold it in your hand,
Yeah, yeah.
and move it around. But it wasn't as big as like the tape base like the that TV station used,
Right.
and it wasn't as small where you can just hold it in your hand like this.
Use perfect
But it was like
size.
somewhere in between.
Okay.
And the reason why I plan to use that camera was because I don't know if anybody watched it. There was a movie called The Raid Redemption that came out of Indonesia, and it took storm by storm here in the U.S. and made a huge business. And the director used that camera,
Okay.
and it's only $3,200. It was,
Oh wow.
and he used that camera to make the film.
Yeah.
And
That's what's happening now. Remember the Creator came out and they
yeah,
used the
and they
Sony FX3 and then
yeah
I bought one. I actually bought one before that film came out, but once that film came out, I was like, "Oh, I'm capable of doing this. I just learned how to use the camera."
yeah definitely
Admired thousands of people. Yeah.
definitely. And I got so used to do it.
We'll
I
wrap it up
agree.
here.
I got so used to using a tan rocks because I felt like now, oh, I can just go like this if I wanted to, like
Right.
and suddenly station and so if I have to run, I'll be like, all right, let's do it. Be running after people,
Yeah.
so I don't have to be relying on every camera or more like. So that was one of my cameras that I actually love and respect a lot.
Awesome. All right, Amrik. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This is your daughter.
Yes.
What's her name?
Say hi.
Hi. Welcome to the show. This is the Downing Cut. You're on the YouTube. Amrik, thank you so much for being on the show. And keep us posted. And we'll link all your information in the comments and hand that out for you. I'm looking forward to seeing your 100 film festival.
Will do.
All
All
right.
right. Have a good day,
Thank
Joe.
you so much. Have a good one.